people. I am here with a person that I really admire. He's Luke from Cloud English. He has a wonderful job. Luke, be very welcome to this channel. It
Thank
is a
you.
pleasure to have you here. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. How are you?
I'm good. It's freezing to death in Brazil today.
It's only fair that you should have to deal with it after we did. So it's like a game of planetary ping pong.
Awesome, I agree. Could you tell us a little bit about your background?
I actually majored in philosophy, so it had nothing to do with teaching English.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in college, I had it never occurred to me to teach English. In fact, I think they say that people who study philosophy only do that because everything else seems worse.
Mm-hmm.
So I studied philosophy. There isn't really a philosophy job, so I knew that, of course. But I'm glad I did because I think reading philosophy, and I still read a lot of it, teaches you how to think critically and gives you exposure to ideas that I think help to open your mind to more than you would experience in your own culture by itself as it is given to you. So I think that in part gave me a sense of curiosity, and I think led to wanting to travel. And so I spent a lot of time in Asia. Ultimately decided that there was a thing that I got for free that was marketable, something that people were willing to pay for that I didn't do anything to earn, which is an ability to speak a language natively, English, that happens to be in demand. That led to a decision to do that. I could teach English anywhere in the world, and I can continue traveling. I don't have to come back and get a job. But that then doesn't necessarily lead to starting a company, a language learning company, 2 language learning companies, or indeed being even a decent English teacher, because there are a lot of bad ones too. So learning how to do it was equally interesting and challenging. I think it's one of the coolest jobs, actually, because if you figure out how to do it and you can actually help people and you see the impact of it, it's a great experience. So I went from teaching in a small center to now I teach courses, and I have the YouTube channel.
It's very interesting. You told that you have some courses. How does it work?
So I started making courses back in 2015. At the same time, was starting another company. So I was doing 2 things in parallel. One was an on-demand English learning platform called Yoli. That had nothing to do with passive learning courses. That was all. We had teachers around the world on demand teaching English classes live with students. At the same time, then, I was doing Cloud English, which was the YouTube channel, but also making courses. I first put them on Udemy. That's the first place I put them. I've been kind of releasing courses ever since then, because I realized if you can capture a set of ideas, a set of knowledge, and package it in a certain way, that can have a lot of impact on someone's progress, possibly as much as being there with them. People say, oh, only one-to-one classes, really. I disagree. If you can have one-to-one classes, that's great, but you can get a lot from information packaged in a certain way. I saw this as a challenge of learning how to provide not only knowledge, but in a way that had impact and that was also a fun experience. And that's something I continue working on.
And with the pandemic, we had to reinvent ourselves. I own a school. I needed to reinvent myself and bring all of my students to Zoom. I am a little bit shy because I think it's amazing, and I'm gonna
Is there
try to
someone
be.
behind me?
I like the way you talk to people. You talk very calmly. One day you are in a park. That's a whole new way to teach as well. And I'm a real fan.
What sort of things did you do during the pandemic to transition your school from brick and mortar to completely on? Is it completely online now?
Yeah, now it is. The building is closed down. So when everything is open again, we're going to go back to the building because I work with my wife. My wife is also an English teacher, so she helps me. Now I'm only teaching online. We had to transition because we started lockdown on March 19th. And I told my students, hey, from Monday on out, we're going to have classes via Zoom, and I'm going to teach you everything that you need. I taught them the whole 9 yards, and everybody's there with me. But what is it that makes you happy about seeing people progressing with you?
An aspect of my personality is I struggle to manage extreme emotions on either end.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of always in the middle, and so I guess any interest that I have then is sort of a slow burn interest. And
Mm-hmm.
I think when I'm doing a live stream or even a course or whatever, it's kind of this. I'm not able to be exciting or energetic.
Yeah.
If I wanted to make it very fake and
Yeah.
weird, I try to just go for relaxing. I don't care if my courses or videos are energetic or exciting. I try to just make them pleasant and relaxing. I want people to feel comfortable because I think that's the only thing I can do, honestly. The thing that I find interesting about, let's say, creating a course is, can I bring in a little philosophy? So
Of course.
the philosopher Wittgenstein said, "The limits of my language mean the limits of my world." And that means a couple of different things, but one of the things that means is, in a sense, language is the world. If you don't have a name for that thing over there, then it doesn't exist. There is a story of I believe it might have been the Incas or the Mayans, when conquistadors first came over to South America. I can't remember where. There was a group of people who didn't have a word for the ships that they saw. They had little canoes and things, I'm sure, but they didn't have a word for that. So when they saw these giant Spanish galleons on the ocean, they didn't say, "What are those weird things on the ocean?" They said, "What's wrong with the ocean? Something is wrong with the ocean." Because in a way, the ships didn't exist if you don't have a word for it. I'm fascinated by the power of language to allow people to make their world more navigable or less navigable, to help them make it more so, to give people the tools to create language that makes their lives easier. If they know how to express things in this way specifically, then they can get that better job. They can convince this person to do this thing. They can express a feeling that maybe helps other people understand them better. I'm fascinated in the power of language to change the world. I think by helping other people get better at using language, it's like teaching people magic. Language is magic. You can manipulate the world with language. On a deeper level, that's why I like it. On a higher level, I do like the challenge of structuring things in a certain way. As I mentioned, people remember it, they can use it, the experience is pleasant. It's an interesting challenge. It's a creative challenge.
I agree with you entirely. My master's degree is in teaching English as a foreign language. I studied it in Spain. And I learned a lot because we have a lot of sounds in Brazilian Portuguese we don't have in English. Do you speak any other language?
My wife is Chinese. I lived in China for a while. I picked up what Chinese there through life in China. When I moved to China, I didn't know any Chinese, zero Chinese. I didn't really study. I just kind of picked it up through talking to people. I would not give myself a very high score in Chinese, but it depends on the situation. I can manage here and there. It's always something I'm spending a little time here and there working on as well.
Awesome. How do you see yourself in 10 years?
10 years. On a personal level or specifically in regards to Cloud English stuff?
It's up to you. You're the boss.
I decide. Okay. Personal level, I would like to be in a place where everything that I do during the day is exactly what I feel is important. It's sort of a silly goal, but it's something I'm always working toward. Getting to a place where I get to decide what happens at any point throughout the day. Not that I walk around saying, "Oh, I'm going to do this," but I mean, I can set all priorities are set by myself. Personal goal. Because, there are always things that are placed upon you that pull you this way or pull you that way, and you're subject to other people's preferences, let's say, which is fine. Let me focus specifically on the language side, Cloud English. Where will Cloud English be in 10 years? I've been in the past putting out courses in the sort of traditional way where I write the course and I film the course and I edit the course and I release the course and promote the course. That is a traditional way of doing it. I have since figured out a much better way of doing it so that so that a course can be created over time, done in a way that is much less intensive on my side. So I'm planning to this year release 9 new courses. That's the plan. And then in the coming few years, I plan to release 2 to 3 courses per year. I'm also going to be doing a couple of courses, not specifically about learning English, but also teaching English. So I'm going to be doing some English teaching courses. I may also be doing some courses about general learning strategies, not just for language. So starting to branch out a little bit. So I would imagine if you looked at my course courses in 10 years, you would not see only English language courses. You would see courses on making courses. You would see courses on teaching the English language. You would see courses on other learning strategies, other topics as well.
I'm sorry, I have to say it. As funny as you are, because during the live stream, sometimes I crack up because of the expressions that you use, the way that you act. How is going to be Luke as a dad?
Who said I'm going to be a dad?
If you're not going to be a dad, that's okay as well.
Well, let's say hypothetically, because I'm not at the
Yeah.
moment. Yeah, that's a good question. I think that's one where you think something about yourself until it's real, and then you find out what's actually true.
Yeah.
So I would imagine I have an opinion about what I might be. Then as soon as I actually have a son or a daughter,
Yeah.
it will be different, and I will figure it out. Do you have kids?
I have two. I have a teenager and a 4-year-old.
Any tips?
It's a nightmare.
It's a nightmare?
And my teenager is 13 and the other's 4, so it's a war every day. They love each other and they hate each other at the same time.
Well, I'm curious, how can a 13-year-old and a 4-year-old actually fight with each other if they're so far apart? I would guess that would make the relationship better. If you have two 13-year-olds, I can imagine them fighting.
Yeah. They fight over the remote control. It's
Ah.
my turn now. It's my turn now. Mom, mom, mom. You know?
Why not just give them each an iPad and send them to separate rooms?
They have, but they keep fighting. Luke, what's your opinion about non-native English teachers?
I think in some ways it could be better to learn from a non-native English speaker. There's a book called Peak. It's about performance and achieving goals. If you have a goal, let's say your goal is fluency in English. Okay, so if you have a goal and you know what it is and it's achievable, attainable, can be done, you should look at everything in your path that can help you as a tool, not as a relationship with a person or something. No, it's good to have relationships, that's important, but you should look at everything as a means to get closer to your goal. Let's say you're a native Portuguese speaker and you are at a certain level where when you listen to a podcast in English, you don't really understand it, you struggle with it, you struggle to speak, to gain confidence. You need someone who's been through the journey, who's achieved this level, right, that can help you get there. I would recommend that person go to someone who's gone through that journey rather than go to, for example, me, a native English speaker, because they haven't been through that journey.
Yes.
But then there might come a point where they reach the same level as that teacher. Then you don't have to stay with the same teacher forever. Then you might look at a native teacher or another native teacher. And that's not to say that that's better. It's just all about which things help you achieve goals at which times. If I have a personal trainer who helps me get to this level of fitness, but then as soon as I reach this level of fitness, I kind of flatten out and I'm not getting better, right? Then I need to find a different personal trainer to get me to the next level and a different personal trainer to get me next level. I don't think the difference is necessarily native, non-native. I think that the difference is which teachers get you there and which ones don't. So you could have a non-native teacher who gets you all the way to the finish line, perfect fluency. Fine, that's great, wonderful. You could have a native teacher who's maybe not a great teacher, who when you practice with them, you don't get better because they are not a good teacher. There are plenty of English teachers who are not good at it. Very bad, in fact. Question is not native, not native. The question is, are you making progress? And if you're not making progress, then do something else. If the reason you're not making progress is because of this teacher not being the right teacher for you. So I would say, for example, for my courses, if someone is getting better with my courses, take them, take more of them. But if you stop getting better and you're not making progress, stop taking them. Don't take them. Do something else. Always look inside for your progress rather than trying to say, there's my next answer. This thing will help me get there. Don't look outside. The stuff that's outside is your tool, but really you have to do the work and you have to evaluate whether you're making progress. Ultimately, you are responsible for moving closer to your goal. That would be my opinion on that question.
Awesome. Well, we're getting to the end, so we're going to play the rapid round game.
All right.
I'm going to start. My family is
Small.
teaching English is
Magical.
American English or British English.
British English.
I'm going to Brazil to visit Rod when
In about an hour.
my wife is
The best.
the most beautiful word in the English language for me is.
Atrium.
Now it's your turn.
My children are.
Mischievous.
Teaching English is.
A dream because I love your language.
The future holds for me.
Peace, harmony, and respect for everybody.
I fear.
Not to be remembered and not having friends.
It's a good answer. Wow, very honest. I feel like that should have been my fifth question. Now I got one more. Now I
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
ask a silly
Yeah,
question
yeah.
because my
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
number 4 was so serious. Let's let's try
You're
this
such
one.
a joker, man. I can't be serious.
Ronald Reagan is
The
okay.
US, former president.
Boring answer, boring question. Whatever. All right, that's
You
fine.
want to ask another one?
No.
Okay, we have come to the end. And for every guest, I have a sentence, a quote. And for you is somebody told me once, never meet your heroes. And I asked why. Because sometimes they're not in a good mood and you get disappointed. They let you down. I never met Madonna, and I think I never will. But I have to tell you that today I've met one of my heroes.
Oh, don't say that. No.
You were so kind, so funny, and so gentle. I was nervous because for me, you, my friend Gino from Real Everyday English, Bob the Canadian, American English with this guy, you are all awesome. It is amazing to be talking to you, and I humbly thank you. Keep doing the great job.
Thank you for the invite. I appreciate it. The first time in my life I've ever been referred to as a hero. Not sure I agree with the characterization, but I appreciate it. Appreciate the way that you feel.
In the English world, to make you feel more comfortable.
Still never been called a hero before.
Yeah.
Tomorrow morning when I get up and look in the mirror, I'm going to look in the mirror and say to myself, you're a hero. Well, again, thank you for the invitation. It was fun. I really appreciate it. I wish you the best of luck with your school, moving online and going back to the brick and mortar. And I know it's tough. So I wish you the best of luck with that and with the channel and getting more interviews. I think it's a cool thing that you're doing. So I appreciate you reaching out, and I appreciate the questions and answering my questions as well.
Of course. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you have liked. This was Luke from Cloud English.
Like and subscribe to Rod's channel
to
immediately.
us. He's a great, great guy. It was a pleasure, and see you next time.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
See you.
Hello, it's Rod's friend here, Gino from Real Everyday English. Sorry for interrupting your video. I just want to make a quick recommendation that you subscribe to Rodrigo's channel. He's an amazing guy. He's so humble. He's so dedicated, and he creates absolutely fantastic content. Sorry for interrupting your video. Don't forget to subscribe. See you people soon. Bye bye. God bless.